Ladies and gentlemen, welcome once again to the Student of the Game. I am Kyle Nash, the Student of the Game, and here with me in studio, both my compatriots. First off, the personality of the show himself. You know him best as Weasel.
Yeah, boy!
Stephen Weasel Hurley here in the place with you. And of course, the local hero himself, firefighter extraordinaire, Sumter County's own, Mr. Chris Rankin. Chris, what's going on, man?
Not much, man. Just finally done with my 3-day schedule. So
that's right. That's right. And you're looking at a very likely case. We don't know, obviously, because we haven't had the Monday night game as of this point. But you're looking at a weekend where I think both New York teams are going to do well, or have done well, depending on who you're talking about. More on that in a second. But guys, I just wanted to throw in really quick. Whenever I have the opportunity to go to a game in person, I always chat a little bit about what was going on there. And while it isn't exactly Lucas Oil Stadium or the Superdome, I got to give it up for NRG Stadium in Houston. I did go in person to see Pats Texans. And while the game may not necessarily have been the most, competitive affair, that defense did not disappoint. Got to see Gronk in person, jump up and get a touchdown basically right in front of my seat and stuff, so that was cool. And got to see J.J. Watt dominate people with one hand. With one hand! Going from being pissed off about a guy's hand being broke, that you were going to see the game. The purpose for my seeing the game, look, we've been over the man crush. I'm hot for Watt, folks. We've been over this. Weasel's looking at me like, yes, we hear about it every week.
You would have been crushed if you couldn't see him play.
I would have... crushed isn't enough. I would have been pissed. Like, that kind of... I don't know. Crushed doesn't seem like enough, Weasel. I need sappy music now. No, but... but watching the Texans defense play, and call me jaded, I went there to go see Brady for the first time in person. Was not really impressed by him. I mean, a lot of the scoring was set up by offensive mistakes by the Texans, and, here's a gift. Well, I'm Tom Brady. Of course I'm going to take it. Anyways, but no, a great experience all the way around, so shouts out to Houston and the Texan fanhood there. Good times all the way around. But in a game that was much closer was this past Thursday night, the Vikings and the Cardinals. And I feel weird right now. I'm covering a Vikings game and not you, Weasel.
Yeah, that's pretty crazy.
I mean, are you okay with this?
I'm good.
Like, you noticed I removed all the blunt objects from your side of the room so you don't throw things at me.
You are good.
Okay. We're sure.
Yeah, carry on.
You're not going to be standing over me in your sleep.
We're cool.
Okay. Why are you looking at me like that? Teddy Bridgewater did what he does, except for, not winning the game. It's unfortunate. I'm not going to blame it completely on him. He did have a good game overall, 25 for 36 in the Vikings' very close game, 20-23. When I wrote it up on my Matchup Mania, I have to be honest, I didn't think it would be this close. I give props for the Vikings doing what they did against this Cardinals offense with as many as they're missing on defense. Anthony Barr at linebacker for one. Our boy Harrison Smith, one of our favorite safeties on this show, both missing for action in this game. And still kept it close, but not quite enough. And the final play, of course, unfortunately being Teddy Bridgewater. Teddy wasn't ready because he fumbled the ball and basically took any hopes of setting up the game-tying field goal out of his hands. Carson Palmer went 25 for 35. Not that much better than Bridgewater, really. I mean, Weasel, would you say that this is Bridgewater's best passing performance to date in your mind?
I'd say so, yeah. Just take out that last play. Yeah.
Obviously.
Yeah.
Obviously. I was talking to some fans about it. By some fans, in this case, I guess I could shout my dad out. It's my show. I can talk about talking with my dad. But he was saying that, if anything, he would blame Zimmer for calling a pass play there rather than running it.
Most likely, Norv Turner would be it.
Right.
So, but yeah.
The offensive coordinator, correct.
It's just, are you going to get back to the play or address it?
No, go ahead. Get it now.
Okay. The only thing is that the Vikings were in field goal range. I would say it would be about, for my guess, it would be like a 40-yard field goal or 45-yard field goal, and that would be to tie the game.
Right.
Bridgewater dropped back on a pass on that third down, and I noticed, I think he pump faked twice, and he just was sitting there, and it's like he was finding someone, but he didn't notice, oh, someone's going to strip the ball away, oh no, type of thing. It's just, it wasn't like this was like first quarter or right before the half, oh, you can maybe miss that 3 points. This was at the end of the game, the last play. And he could have easily thrown it away or anything like that, and then they would have kicked the field goal, and game would go into overtime, but didn't work out that way. He held the ball too long, so it's partly on Bridgewater.
So despite the fact you're probably thoroughly impressed that he hit 11 different receivers on the night, you were not impressed with his game situational awareness on that particular play.
He was spreading the love all game, just not for that last play.
Fair enough. Chris, what you got?
No, I was just how I was talking about they could have kicked the field goal, but it's not guaranteed. I mean, they're missing extra points this year.
Wow.
So kicking a field goal is not really a guarantee. So,
I mean, there may have been a few times where you even heard, our little, what is it, our wall of shame riff, just every now and again.
Hey,
but
I sometimes I'll just say sometimes I get ticked off at Blair Walsh, because you miss an extra point or something like that, but the thing is the guy he was 2 for 2, and he made a 54-yard field goal. So
it's not on him tonight.
Yeah, not this time.
Okay. So he is the man in this case. This isn't ironic or sarcastic. That being said, considering how close they rode with the Cardinals, I mean, you still have to be kind of confident with Green Bay and the Vikings. Week 17. Here's the question. Minnesota has one job between now and week 17, 15 and 16, obviously. And that's to make sure they've kept pace with the Packers. Because if they win that football game, they have a shot for the playoffs. Right? If those teams go in and they're tied, the winner takes the NFC North, and the other one has to plead the fifth in the NFC. Assuming everybody does what they're supposed to do. You can't rule out the Vikings yet. I'll put it that way. Speaking of teams that you can't rule out, look, they were playing the Ravens, but you got to give a little of the Seattle Seahawks. They've been battling very well. Russell Wilson has played these past 3 weeks, and by the way, listing them in order, Steelers, Vikings, Ravens in impressiveness. They slapped the Ravens around 35-6. No one's surprised that the Seahawks won this football game. I'm not, you're not, nobody is. But Thomas Rawls being knocked out of this game for me is a very interesting question. And again, for those people who want to be all like, but Cal, why aren't you talking about how good Russell Wilson did? Yeah, okay, fine. 292 yards, 5 touchdowns against a, crushed, packed in, not caring that much anymore Ravens team whose starting quarterback was Jimmy Clausen. If you didn't win this game big, I'd have bigger questions for you, and everybody should agree with that approach. I say all that to say this. With Thomas Rawls out, guys, Marshawn Lynch is still missing time. I know that the Seahawks' remaining schedule isn't exactly difficult, but do you see Russell Wilson, doing his part? He does have going into this week, he has a game lead. He might have a 2-game lead by the time this show is over. But, I mean, do you feel good about Russell Wilson leading his team to the playoffs and maybe even getting a playoff run?
I would say, considering the way he's been playing, especially these last 4 games, you got the 49ers, Steelers, Vikings, and then this game, Baltimore. He's thrown 16 touchdowns to 0 interceptions in those 4 games, and each game he's passed for over 70% completion rate. So I think he's going to be all right. Thomas Rawls, he was a great substitute for Marshawn Lynch being out. It was kind of like a little mini Marshawn Lynch out there, and the guy commanded the field and everything. He got the big plays, but the way. If it was like mid-season where I see Russell Wilson throwing 1 touchdown to 1 INT, he had a series of games. It's just been like that. 2 touchdowns to 1 INT. The past 4 weeks, it's been ridiculous. So I think they'll be okay.
So what you're trying to say is that the Seahawks have stopped doing their Paula Abdul impression. 2 steps forward, 2 steps back. That's right. That's some opposites attract, Schmack. What you gonna do?
And I
Don't
think
judge me, Chris.
with their whole thing with
Go ahead, Weasel. I'm sorry.
with their whole thing with Jimmy Graham, they traded away their starting center and a first-round pick to get Jimmy Graham. And so whenever he doesn't get the ball enough, I think then you have the offensive coordinator. You could be like, we have to give him the ball more type of thing. So you're kind of possibly changing up like your game plan kind of to get him more involved because he is such a talented player.
So let me bottom line it for you. You're saying that Graham, not that you're wishing an injury on him.
No, not at all.
But him not being on the field is kind of a good thing. Some addition by subtraction there, huh?
The thing is that back when the Vikings, they had one Randy Moss, they had coach Mike Tice, and they tried doing something called a Randy ratio, where I think if you have every like 5 passes or something, one goes to Randy Moss type of thing. It's like you're trying to change your game plan to suit somebody. The past 4 weeks, I mean, there's the two guys. Tyler, you got Lockett, the rookie, and then Doug Baldwin. Baldwin's had what, 3 touchdowns, 2 touchdowns in the past 4 games or so.
Yeah.
So he's on fire, and
that's per game, not.
That's I would say per game, pretty much.
Yeah.
Because it was 3 touchdowns for Baldwin to 2 for Lockett.
Right.
And so Rawls was a big loss. It stinks because it was fun watching him play. The guy was really making a difference out there, but with the way they're clicking on offense, I mean, I think they're just going to keep going.
Well, I'll say this. Their last 3 games are the Browns, the Rams, and the Cardinals. They're going 2-1 in that stretch. I think we're pretty clear on that.
Yeah.
So based on that alone, I feel like the Seahawks have a pretty good chance. Russell Wilson and company would have to work to screw it up. Not to mention, oh, by the way, there's still that Legion of Boom thing they got there. I don't know. Anyway, speaking of teams trying to maintain their hopes in the playoffs, the Jets hosted the Titans, Chris.
The Jets hold on to a wild card spot with a 30-8 victory over the Tennessee Titans. The Titans' only touchdown came from the Rogue Titan formation. It's not a Wild Titan.
The Rogue Titan.
Well, you got the Wildcat, you got the Wild this, Wild that. Wild Titan, I'd just say it's Rogue Titan because Marcus Mariota was on the sideline, or he was lined up as a receiver. And
so if the Eagles do that, is it the plucked feather? What the hell? I mean, because if the Falcons do it, they should call it the Dirty Bird. I'm just saying. But the Rogue Titan.
I just call it the Rogue Titan.
The more I say it, the more I like it. I'll be honest, but
it's better than the Wild Titan.
Yeah, that sounds
right.
dumb.
Yeah.
The Rogue Titan. It sounds like the Rogue Titan. That sounds like something in a God of War game. I am the Rogue Titan. Anyways, go ahead, Chris.
Yeah. See, it wasn't their normal Titan formation. It fits, doesn't it?
It was not. No.
Should go trademark that right now.
Hey, who was to say it?
Hold on, I'll be right back.
Yeah.
All right. So, in that formation, Marcus Mariota was open for 41-yard touchdown pass.
Well, I mean, okay. You're not going to mention that the corner was so fooled by the fact he started actually running a route that he fell down.
Yeah, well, I think
I thought it was comical.
I think on that play, I think he was looking at the quarterback the whole
because
time.
Because it was a pitch out. He rolled out with it.
So he was just backpedaling.
Well, and Mariota wasn't really running at first. That's what I saw.
Well, that's always part
of
it.
And then he turned on the Jets. He's like, wait, what? Ah, ka-thunk. Something like that. I don't know.
Anyway, but that, they weren't the only team that forgot to cover someone, but usually when a quarterback's lined out there, you're like, oh, he's not going to get the ball. But when you have your starting receiver lined up on the end outside, and the only one that notices is defense end Jarrell Casey. If you don't know what I'm talking about Brandon Marshall. The Titans left them wide open. Defense end Jarrell Casey's pointing over at the linebacker, safety, someone saying, someone needs to cover him. There's no one over there. The linebacker looks like he's lost out there. Like, what are you talking about?
What?
And so he said, oh, screw this. He started running after. Before the ball's even snapped, he tried running out to the sideline from the line of scrimmage. But he was just a little too slow, and Marshall cut the ball and scored from 69 yards out.
It's interesting you say that because I feel that poor lineman got screwed having to run all that extra distance.
Fitzpatrick, on that, he finished with 21 for 36 for 263 yards with 3 touchdowns. Mariota was 21 for 39 for 274, but he had an interception. Delaney Walker was once again the leading receiver for the Titans, like he has been almost every game this season. I believe. He had 71 yards. Brandon Marshall's finished with 125 yards. Decker had 74 and a touchdown. Blood